What's going on, everybody? It is me, your boy Gilbert,
And me, Harry.
and no Peaky today because again, I don't know why he's just deciding not to be here for any of the Andor stuff. I think I might have pissed him off with all my go watch Andor talk. But anyway, just gonna be the two of us today, and boy, what a day it is to be talking about this. There is a ton of stuff that happened in this episode. Holy crap, Harrison! Let me I don't know how did you feel about it? I'm in I was in this from the get go, but I was like holy shit. But how are you about this episode? These last three episodes?
Oh, these are great episodes. Yeah, fantastic. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. The story's escalating. We're getting more action. We're getting more suspense, higher stakes. No, it's ramping up, and I'm really excited to see what the final three comes up with.
Yeah, dude, and I'm really enjoying this whole like I mentioned it last week as well, but I'm really enjoying this whole like 3 episode arc of like 4 BBY, 3 BBY, 2 BBY. Like it's really cool to be able to see these little like as opposed to just every little detail. It's kind of cool to see these little like chunks of the rebellion and their timeline. Real quick, let's go to the comments. We got Talking Turd already in here. We got Universal. We got Aaron. Poor Gore. Oh, we'll get to that. We will get. Yeah, you can see in our little like name plate things that you can see. We already know exactly about the Gore, so we will definitely get into that. So yeah, but I guess let's just jump. Oh shit! Let me make sure I share the screen too while I do that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. So yeah, we start off on 2 BBY, and now we get I do kind of like this. I was thinking we were going to see the origin of Yavin's base, but no, this we get to see them like fully established. They're we have like rebels apparently arriving every single day. They say we have people living here now, like actual like we get to see a lot more of what we see in episode 4. When we see the rebel base or in Rogue One even. Uh, yeah, how and we also get to see what's his we get to see Andor and Bix living in kind of like almost like this kind of gave me Andor vibes. I'm gonna say because like the end like the Ewok village. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I can see that. Yeah, with the sort of jungle surroundings. I guess it's got that kind of definitely the sort of rebellion Viet Cong sort of vibe. Like we can't stay out on the more populated worlds anymore because it's too easy to find us. So we've had to go out into the middle of nowhere and live in the jungle. No, it's cool. He's having his little Swiss Family Robinson dreams, and he's decided that maybe that's what he can do. Is he can just be a weird homesteader in the jungle with Bix now.
Yeah, and it makes it seem like they've been doing a lot more like the rebellion is getting a lot more like missions. Like they're doing a lot more official like military stuff. Like they're actually starting to get. I'm pretty sure at one point in this episode we see, yeah, this dude there, the general who we see in Rogue One. This guy, like we actually see on his patch, like or on his chest, like in the movie. So there's another thing I noticed when I watched the Rogue One movie. You see that he has like a patch on his chest right here, but in the movie he actually has a real life rank pip. Like so you can see that they are starting to get the startings of their actual military going.
It's really interesting the dynamic that you get between Andor and this guy as well, because you sort of see this thing of while they are sort of loosely all one rebellion, there are like factions amongst them. And Andor's like, I'm not one of you guys, and so he has the whole argument with him at one point where he's like, if it gets to the point where I can't come and go as I please, I'm out of this. I'm not doing this anymore. And you've seen it sort of building up. There is this divide, and it gets stronger within these episodes about like there's Luthen and what Luthen does, and then there's like other rebels and the other side, so much more like Mon Mothma and everyone who's on Yavin. They seem to have some separation between them. Then, of course, somewhere there's Saw Gerrera, who then ends up in the mix at some point.
Yeah, and we do kind of see that that dichotomy with Wilmon when he shows up. Like he's all just like, "Hey guys, what's up? What's going on?" And he talks about how he's been working, closely with Luthen. He's been doing like missions on Gorman, and he's been like doing undercover. So we do see that. Like yeah, like you said, like there is like the official rebel military that's been doing this, but we also have like Saw Gerrera and Luthen doing their like secret agent covert stuff, and it's very much like the end of that era, and you do kind of see that. I'm pretty sure that even like even Luthen says that at one point in these episodes. It's just like that. This point is like that point is done. Basically, we're done with that with the cloak and dagger part of our rebellion. Hang on one second. I got a crying dog wanting to go out. There we go. Okay, so but yeah, so that's also one thing we do have Willman show up there and being like, and he lets Cassian know about about Dedra and how she is now on Gorman, like officially how she's running the whole operation, and how he basically just tells him like, hey, we need to kill her. Like he tells him that I'm not sure if it was Luthen who gives the mission or if it's just Willman saying that, hey, we need to go out and assassinate her while we have the chance.
Yeah, I think it's Wilmot because Luthen is like kind of absent weirdly in a lot of these episodes. Like we don't see him. Maybe like Skarsgård wasn't available for some of this shooting, but he gets referred to, but he doesn't appear like physically that often.
Yeah, I think he only shows up in the last episode in episode 9 because like you're right. That's when it's like it's time to get Mon Mothma out of there, and that's when he's like, okay, this is my guy. He's going to show up, but he's only there very sparingly.
Yeah, so Wilmot who shows up with this whole like, yeah, we've got to take care of Daedra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's go ahead and talk about that for a minute. Like we get to see like Daedra gets told by her boss that apparently they have exhausted all the possible like substitutes or permutate like every possible thing that they could use for this like for the lenses of the Death Star. That apparently the only thing they could use is the Gorman material in the ground. So I like how callously he's just like, well, they tried, but the science wasn't there. So I don't know it all, but it's bad luck, Gorman. And I'm just like, dude, you're just like so. The fact that they're just like, well, like, I want to say I give the Empire a little bit of credit. I'm like, good for you guys for at least trying to avoid genocide. But the fact that it was never like off the table, it's just like, well, here we go with the genocide.
Well, it'll only be like a practical sort of thing of like, it's easier for us to maintain power if people are less, angry at us. And not only is this a whole thing of, well, they're going to see, something bad happen. We will control that narrative enough. But then, it'll be stuff like, there's a lot of people at the Senate who like Gorman Spider Silk. They'll be mad that they can't get it anymore.
Well, see, I would agree, but at the same time, that's also like apparently they showed that with with Cyril's mom, that if she's just like, oh, we used to wear everything Gorman silk, but now I wouldn't be caught dead in those rags. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's very like we don't call them French fries anymore; they're freedom fries.
That's very much what that is. Oh yeah, we did get a super sticker from Peaky, so that is absolutely correct. We have to cue the rum.
You are my brother, Anakin. But I had to dick your missus because she wanted it. And my purple wand was throbbing.
Thanks for that, Peaky. So let me see. Yeah, the planet's going to be broken into pieces from mining, probably a future asteroid belt. I'm like, I don't know about that. It's just they're gonna strip it bare. Like, actually, that's not. They did say that there would be like tectonic problems from their mining efforts. So
yeah, so at the very least, it's somehow going to be uninhabitable. It's probably going to ruin the atmosphere and things. And yeah, maybe it is that like it's going to fall apart, but I don't know whether that's just going to fall apart immediately or is it like, oh, this thing will have like another 30 years in it before it just gives way and it can't hold its mass anymore or something.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a Star Warsy, yeah, like or yeah, they took so much of it out of the ground that it's just like the planet can't hold like structural integrity anymore.
Yeah. Now, something that I had with this though, and maybe people in the chat or you can explain to me more, is I was a bit confused why Daedra seemed so resistant to them starting up, like because Daedra was like, she seemed very negative about the whole thing of okay, we're going to start mining there now. I don't know whether it was that she felt that like their work wasn't complete, or whether she was hoping that she'd be able to catch Andor by encouraging outside agitators to come in. But I was a bit like, you're part of the Empire. Like, why aren't you chill with this?
Yeah, I'm like, I would agree as well. It's like I think that's just kind of the whole thing. We talked about that with Cyril when we were off air. That it just kind of feels like, why aren't all of you just kind of cool with it? Like, shouldn't you just be like, oh yeah, no, the Empire wants it, we're good. But I guess it's like Gilroy or whoever wrote these episodes, I guess it's their attempt to like try to make them seem more human or make them seem like they're not all like just monsters. But the fact that you're even okay with doing this in the first place, I'm like, that kind of throws that out the window. But here, let's go ahead and talk about the Cyril part real quick. So how did you like? you did mention, as I said, you did mention off air that you felt like he would be down for this. Like, did this whole thing bug you of like the whole him being like lied to till the very end?
I'll be honest, it kind of made me feel a bit stupid because I was like, wait, what have I missed here? Like Cyril all the way through this, from what I've understood, is he's a bootlicker. He's his whole thing is he wants to feel better about himself by gaining approval within the Empire's system and structure, and like he wants to achieve something and wants to be important and uses the kind of what the Empire has to do that. So him being mad, I was like, I find it unlikely that Cyril would actually care about Gorman, because like it's not like he cared about the first planet he was on when he was part of the security, was it the corporate security forces there? It's not like he's like, oh, the rich cultural like tapestry of this planet, we're suppressing it. So yeah. I was like, is he mad because he didn't know the real reason they were there, and he didn't understand that she would keep secrets from him? So I'm like, she's an ISB officer. Like, I don't think you're that naive, like Cyril. Like, you loved the fact that you were involved in secrets and cloak and dagger stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's saying like, we're going to be rewarded. We're going to go home and we'll be back on Coruscant and we'll get stuff for this. So I would have thought he was happy with it, but yeah, no, I guess maybe it is like his conscience is coming out, that he we talked about off air, maybe it is that he's got a bit of a sort of hand of judgment kind of feel to him, where he believes in the Empire and the Empire's people, doesn't think the Empire should be massacring people, but still like wants to protect it. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where like he is on board with the Empire, but at the same time, it's like he has this also kind of like romanticized ideal of what the Empire is. It's like they would never wipe out these people. It's like it's like, and yeah, I feel like maybe it's that fact that he just like he has this kind of weird idea of like, I'm a super cop, like I have a duty to the people and to the some kind of like his normal bullshit from the first season that everyone kind of found him insufferable for. Let me see. So I was curious. I think that a big part of it has to do with this girl. Like it kind of makes it seem like he was kind of like having a thing for her, and that she might have had a thing for him as well. But then she found out that he was just another ISB stooge.
Yeah. No, you're probably right on that.
And yeah, because it does make this thing of like, I just wanted to see you one last time, or I wanted to talk to you real quick, and it's just like it does make it seem like he was having some like second thoughts just because of her. But then yeah, she slaps him, tells him to go fuck himself, and that's pretty much the end of that.
I mean, too, maybe it's a similar thing of like he's just found that the Empire isn't the only way for him to feel important, because these people sort of looked up to him and they needed him, and maybe it started to rub off on him, and he started to realize like that like actually there are other ways to this.
Cyril choking Dedra is off. He's nothing without. Yeah, that happens in the second episode during the like just before the massacre starts. Like, but yeah, like we'll get to that. But that is definitely a weird scene. I was not expecting him to choke her out. I wanted to talk about this real quick. So we have a scene where back on Yavin, we have. I get the feeling that you were not about this, because you very very commonly, like when the Force comes into it, at least into the more like grounded, realistic stuff, it makes it seem like you're not, like you seem like you're not that into it, is what I'll say. So how did you feel about the Force healer?
I mean, I can't be that mad about it, because I do like it when they show that like the Force isn't just the Jedi. I like that thing of like the Jedi don't have a monopoly on the Force, which I think Cal Kestis says in Fallen Order or one of those, and it's nice to see it. I'm not a fan of it. I think one of the big reasons I'm not a fan of it is because like when you're watching the mainstream movies, the Force is like superpowers. But like the Jedi, like the X-Men, and they've all got these superpowers and they get to train in them. When you do it outside of the Jedi, sometimes the Force turns into God, and it ends up, like the Force works in mysterious ways. I'm like, no, don't do this. Don't give me this. This is stupid. It's boring.
See, I don't disagree with you that it's kind of messed up when it gets muddled like that. But I mean, in the universe of Star Wars, the Force is God. Like that is how that works.
It's more interesting
when
when
the
it's
fucking
magic, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I agree. It's like it's nice that it's cool when it's like magic and it's something you can control, but also like controls your action. It's like when it sounds mystical and like unknown, but it's also like it's kind of hard for there to be a world where it's like, oh, there's this mystical force that nobody knows about, but like 20 years ago there was thousands of guys who just did this on a regular basis, and we can prove it by fucking tracking your midichlorian count. It's like
yeah, because
yeah, go ahead.
I don't like the thing, especially in a show like this. Like, I don't like when anyone can then go, well, actually, all that happened because the Force. I'm like, no, you don't get to have like the Force doesn't get to have the credit for this. That's not okay. Like that's not all right. Like Andor worked his ass off and lost some of his humanity and murdered people. He deserves the credit for murdering those people.
And that was the will of the Force. You don't understand. This is the best nerd argument ever. It's like, I hate that the Force has a will. Fuck the Force. God,
it's like one of my least favorite bits about Darth Plagueis, because there are bits where they just say like, oh, and Plagueis and Sidious had been like meditating for days to create a shift in the Force. And I'm like, all right. And they went, oh, it works. I was like, did it? Like, I guess it did. All I've got is your word that it worked.
Love it so much. So yeah, but I mean, I think the only problem that bugs me about this is not so much that there's a Force healer or that Force healers are even a thing. Like I'm down with the idea that there's like someone out there who never got picked up by the Jedi and just can go around and do it. What bugs me is that people do not, or that Andor himself is just like, that's not real. There is no Force. Like, I'm like, dude, you're old enough to have seen the Jedi, like, or at the very least, you're old enough to have known. Like, you can see holovids of what a Jedi is, for God's sake. Like, your own organization says, "May the Force be with us."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Several times do we hear the rebellion say, "May the Force be with us." So I'm just like, guys, come on. That's the only problem I have with that. But you're right. They very much kind of made it an allegory of like Bix having like kind of faith in God and him being an atheist. And like they kind of made it just like him having a problem or having like getting scared after having a real religious experience.
Yeah.
Force healers are the Wiccans of Star Wars. As long as they don't try to read my fucking my astrological sign, I'm happy. In your opinion, what is the best indicator to evaluate what they missed the boat with in season 2? I'm not sure I understand the question, but yeah, you might have to clarify that a little more. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's see. Yeah, so again, we have this scene where like it was just after Wilmon told him about Dedra, he decides to go leave. He has this interaction with the general, and I do kind of like this line of like, oh, like you said, the day I have to ask permission to leave, I'm gone. And he says that day is very near, and I'm like, dude, it should be happening right now. Like you should not just be letting people leave your base. Like this is how you get blown up by the Death Star.
I kind of like it comes up, I think, in a later episode, but I appreciate it from Mando. He has a moment where he says to someone like, what have I never not come through for you? And so I'm a little bit with him. I'm just like, don't you come talking to me about rules, man. I have done all of this. You know, all of this? It's next to me. Now shut up.
It's like, I mean, there's definitely credence to that. Like there are other rebel cells, and you got to imagine that all these other people were doing their own like rebel shit on their side. But yeah, no, a big part of what allowed the rebellion to work is because Andor was doing his thing. Like I will.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So a question I also had was, this is another way if anyone can remind me. The blaster burn he had that he was getting healed. Where did he get that blaster burn? Did we see that?
I don't think so. No.
I
think that was just something that just like it was like on a mission one time he got shot and it wasn't healing very well.
Ah, cool. Thank you.
But it totally did heal. Force healing is a thing, which also means that Obi-Wan should have healed Qui-Gon. Just wanted to throw that little joke in there. Also, I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, the ship that they're in, you can see that one in Rogue One as well. I'm pretty sure that's like it's one of the ones that assaults that's there on the assault on Scarif. It's like the troop transport that drops in. If I just noticed that when they were flying away. Here, let me see if I can skip ahead and find that part. Yeah, it's like if I can get it, but I just freshly watched Rogue One, and this ship is apparent. Like I think it's the same kind of ship that's in there. It's like it's. I don't know. I'm maybe just be pulling it out of my butt. Let's go ahead and move on. Let me see here. Pretty much the rest of the episode is just like setting up. Like we get the Imperial troops that are all just like fresh out of the academy. They're basically just like 17, 18-year-old kids. And the guy even says that there's not a man in this bunch, but he'll do what he can with them. Let me see. We get we get the startings of Bix like choosing to leave, which because like Vel talks to her and says that the only reason that Andor is doing the things that he's doing is because of Bix, and it's to keep her safe and it's to keep her away from the Empire. Like him, like they talks about how like they're ready to promote him to captain, and that he goes and runs off like without fucking like a word. Let me see, and and then finally we have him on Gorman, which I did kind of like this scene because that's the same bellhop, if I'm not mistaken. That's the same guy he was talking to before when he was like pretending to be the clothing merchant.
Yeah, I really appreciate this scene. The fact that he recognizes him, and we later find out that he never called it in.
Yeah, exactly. That he's like helping him along. He knows that he's a rebel, and he's helping him along the way. I do kind of like this scene as well, like him checking into the hotel, checking out. Like it's a lot different than the last time he was there. Like the place is actually like now a fortress. There's like stormtroopers everywhere. Yeah, they got like floodlights and everything. And even when he tries to set up his sniper rifle, he can't because there's two stormtroopers literally just like patrolling right above him. So he's just like crap. Like, also, I love this. I love his fucking like sniper. It's the same kit he had in the. It's the same rifle he had in the movie. So I'm just like, I love that they're keeping that this is like his favorite fucking weapon. All right.
Barrel.
Yeah, it's like I like how it's like it doesn't have to be necessarily configured in any one way. Like he can just have it as a pistol, and then he can change it into a rifle and swap it around and shit. I'm like, dude, I want guns that can do that. Like, why can't we have why can't we have Star Wars guns? Anyway, so let's move on to episode 2 because that's pretty much the the last like 15 minutes of that episode are literally just setting up for this whole episode, and arguably this one is the best one because this is the one with the Gorman massacre. Here, let's go ahead and jump ahead if it'll let me. There we go. So so I'm curious. I'm really curious about how you felt about this. Like we get to see just from the get go. Like Andor wakes up. He's getting his rifle ready to go shoot Dedra, but then he calls up his buddy and says that they're setting up the town, or they're setting up the plaza as a fortress. Like they're boxing it in and making like a giant like dome around the base that they're around the armory. And so it's just. Basically, like we get to see them making the Gorman making Molotovs. We get to just the it's the whole thing is building up from the get go, and it just gets worse and worse. And I'm curious, how did you feel about all this?
I like it. I like it a lot. I like that. I think one of the themes that kind of runs through this episode, and I really enjoyed, is there's this blind look to kind of everything that happens. Everyone who survives and everyone who dies, like. It's not necessarily like for a good reason. Things happen, and so the fact that the night before, at the end of the last episode, he checks in with Wilmon, and the guy's like, the weather's clear, and they're not expecting anything to be a problem, and then they wake up the next morning to like reports of like everything's gone wrong. They've landed mining stuff all across the planet. Andor looks out of his window and he can see them setting up everything into a fortress, and suddenly completing their mission like is incredibly difficult, perhaps even impossible. It reminds me of that Clint Eastwood movie, Unforgiven, which I love that movie. And there's a great moment in that where after a gunfight, a character asks him, like, how did you do it? How did you know who to shoot, and how did you survive? And he's like, I'm lucky. I've always been lucky. And like, I kind of love that with Andor, he has that. Like, Andor's just kind of the guy who's been able to survive the longest, and it just helps everything again feel really real. Just has that great sort of feeling of like, yeah, a lot of these things end up just being the circumstances.
Wow, dude, Universal's that's a hot take right here. That he says the only good parts of episode 8 were the Dedra and Cyril scenes. I'm like, that is wild, considering that the Dedra and Cyril scenes only make up like a very small amount of it. Like Cyril is walking through the crowd. I guess Cyril's scenes kind of do like interchange with the whole episode. But Dedra, she's really not in this whole, like, we have the choking scene and then her kind of freaking out when she finds out that Cyril's dead. But besides that, like, she's very light in these next 2 episodes. Although I wanted to say I did love this scene of like it, like you. So this dude right here, the one who now I can no longer see as anything other than the fucking scene in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh yeah.
Here, let me pull that up. Yeah, this dude. So like I do kind of like how he understands that like what they're doing is a trap. He's like, they want us to be here. They want us to be in this fucking like in the town square. They're gonna kill us all. It's gonna be an exact copy of the Tarkin massacre. And I'm like, bro, yeah, like the fact that he's just like, and he's seeing all of this and he knows he can't do anything about it. I'm just like, bro, this is a powerful, like this was a powerful episode just because of that. Like the acting that they did in this episode is top notch. Because he's sitting there freaking out, trying to get them all like out of the square. The Gorman are just like, now that they're finally allowed back in the square, they're doing, they're protesting and doing this shit. I don't know. My eyes were glued to the screen this entire scene. I don't know how you were feeling.
Oh yeah, no. This whole episode, I think, is kind of a masterclass in tension. It's just they create this fantastic way of this is how everything gets to a boiling point. And it ends up being a mix of all these different things. It's a mix of stuff like part of it is because or a large part is because it's being manufactured by the Empire and the people around them. But then it's that thing of what else could the people of Gore do? They're put into this catch-22 situation of if you go home and you're peaceful, you still get rolled over. The Empire are going to do it whether you like it or not. And even if 5 people turned up to the plaza, they'd still say that a riot happened, or they'd still do something to just be like, this is why we can kind of declare martial law, and then we can just do whatever we want to Gore.
Yeah, I like how when the old dude when he grabs Cyril and he tells him, he's like how can you lie to us, or how can you can still like pretend that you don't care? Like they're landing mining equipment all over our planet. And yeah, I like how even in the end, Cyril is just like, that's a rumor. It's not true. Like, dude, wake up and smell the fucking coffee. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunately, Cyril, it is happening.
Mm-hmm. And see, at that point, it's like, I like how they even say, like, like you mentioned how they're spinning it, how it's like, oh, even only 5 people showed up, they'd still spin it as it being like a riot and shit like that. They do show that as well, that I think they mentioned that when Andor gets there, he's like, oh, well, I'm with Midrim News. Oh, we've never heard of you. And they also, I think there's like just a background character or background like line somewhere where they mentioned that like Alderaan, like the Alderaan news wasn't allowed in, or like various like other news outlets weren't allowed onto the planet simply because like obviously they would tell like what was actually going on. So yeah,
there is that really cool moment where he walks past. Is it Cyril? Yeah, Cyril walks past someone who's like giving a report. And listening to just how like it's just they're just making this up.
Yeah, no, that's true as well. Yeah, because when he's walking past the dude in the crowd, he's like, despite all efforts to to stop or to be peaceful, these evil agitators have been coming in all night. Like and Cyril knows full well that's all bullshit. And so one thing I'm curious about is when they have this guy multiple times, they say like that. And I think it's both the ISB guys and this dude. They all say like, their refusal to adhere to imperial norms. I'm like, what the fuck is an imperial norm? What does that even mean? Like, what, they won't wear white, or what is your fucking thing?
You just shut up and don't question anything that happens. I think like.
I guess I'm just like, because they mentioned that multiple times. It's like, oh, the Gormans don't adhere to imperial norms. I'm like, what is the imperial? They won't speak basic? What?
Well, I imagine that thing is like imperial norms probably is incredibly loosely defined, and it's just a phrase that they can trot out, like I don't know, MS-13 gang member or something. You can just claim it, and then because you've claimed it, all bets are off, and you can do whatever you like.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you're right. It's one of those terms like illegal. So you can just throw that onto anyone, and then suddenly it's like, okay, we can do whatever we want to you.
Yeah, I see you, Patrick, and I agree with you.
Looking at you, 47. Anyway, yeah. So, let me see here. I want to talk about this. How I love how even through this whole riot, through the whole like people getting massacred, Andor is still trying to fucking complete his mission. He's still just trying to shoot Dedra. Like at this point, man, just let it go. Like
there were some bits where I was like, he like does some shady stuff here, and I guess the idea is there's too much going on for anyone to notice him. But like he's surrounded by people on all sides who are watching this plaza, and no one goes like, "Why's that guy got a telescope? What's he doing?" Like,
yeah, like there's a part where he's aiming. He full on starts aiming his rifle. I'm pretty sure before the actual shooting takes off, he starts getting his rifle ready and is aiming it, and then that's when all hell breaks loose, and he's like, "Oh shit, I need to get the fuck out of here." Like, but yeah, no, it is just bizarre, and I feel like it wouldn't have helped anyway. Let's say that there wasn't an Imperial sniper on the roof, like getting ready to kill everyone, but if he had just like sniped Dedra in the middle of this whole thing, that would have busted out into a fight anyway.
oh yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's a dark thing to say, but I think Andor probably by this point, not that he doesn't care. Maybe it's more that Andor knows this is inevitable, and he can either complete his mission or not.
Yeah, and I mean, Turd is right. He says although the chaos provides perfect cover and plausible deniability. I'm just saying though, but firing off that like the second that one bullet gets fired at the Imperials at these guys, the little riot guys, that all hell breaks loose. And so if Andor suddenly were to fire at Dedra, I feel like that would not help anything. That's just going to make things so much worse. But yeah, so not that it mattered anyway. We get to like he. Apparently, it was not her turn to die. Yeah, we already talked about the choking scene.
It would have been kind of incredible if Cyril had killed her.
That would have been nuts. That would have been fucking nuts if he had just been like broke her neck or something and then just walked out.
Yeah, no, that was really like kind of wild. I definitely was never expecting. Well, I say I wasn't expecting him to do it to Dedra. I've said like I feel like Cyril's a powder keg and would just murder someone at some point, but like I didn't think we'd get to the place where he would target her.
Yeah, no, I didn't think that we would get it. I never thought we'd get to a place where he would choke her. Like it's weird. Everyone was thinking that the person who was going to be choking Dedra was Darth Vader. Turns out it was just Cyril. Like that's wild. I would have lost the over under on that one. But yeah, no. Let me see here. Again, I do like how they have very specifically they use the fucking like the young these young like academy troops who clearly they're not ready for this. They're not prepared for a group that big, and they're obviously scared. Like when something goes down, when one of them gets shot, clearly they're all gonna start shooting and just start freaking out. So I can and I feel like that's also part of the narrative as well because later on they start talking about how like the martyrs of the Empire, these poor souls who died, and it's like you specifically chose children just so you could be like, look at these poor young boys who got killed by the Gorman.
Yeah, well, and also like the guy who is kind of in charge of the massacre. It seems that guy who's he says like he's the trigger and she's like Daedra has to give the order. Yeah, I think he's got this thing of like, I'm not giving up good men, like men that I actually like and I want to keep working for me for something that they're probably not going to survive. Like send these guys out; they're totally expendable to me.
Yeah, and that's the wild part. That's even more wild is that they're just like, yeah, no, we know you're gonna die, so you're really not worth much to us. Like, but yeah, so they like you're right. I do like that line that he says like, I'm just the trigger, you're the finger. So like make your call, director, or like whatever her rank is. I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. Like this dude does not give a shit.
It's really interesting. This is another point that I did get a bit confused about between those two, where it comes in. Because yeah, he's sort of answering to her, but he's not. Like he's been forced on her, and like he's going to do this, but like she has to be the person to say yes, and she doesn't have a choice.
I get the feeling based off of his like rank pip or whatever. I get the feeling that yeah, he is a higher rank than she is, but in the Imperial Navy, like he's a military person versus like her, she's ISB, which is like a different department.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, and I mean, like the FBI versus like the chief of police or something. It's like the FBI agent's like special dude, but I'm technically a higher rank. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I'm only here. I'm only following your orders because I was ordered by someone higher up than me to do so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at that point, yeah, we get to have their we get to have their sniper on the roof and fucking shoot one. I honestly thought he was going to shoot one of the people. I didn't think he was going to shoot one of their own guys. Like that was one thing that kind of got me. I'm just like, I did not expect them to take a shot at an Imperial troop, you know. Like I guess that adds to the whole thing. Is like they could make the argument that the Gorman fired first. But still, though, I'm just like, that surprised the shit out of me. I thought he was going to fire into the crowd.
No, I get what you mean. I think like maybe it's that thing of to make it really clear. Yeah, but by doing that, you make it very clear to the audience that this was a setup. They wanted this to happen, as opposed to if he had shot one of the Gore, then it's like then for an audience member, it's hard and potentially to see. You go, wait, was that an accident? Was he supposed to shoot him? Did he see something? Was it justified? Whereas like this is like, no, let's make it clear it isn't justified. This shouldn't have happened, but they made it happen.
Yeah. And like I said, everything just goes to hell from there. It's just, the stormtroopers start firing, and again, we all knew this was what was going to happen. Like this is what the point, like they were building up to it, but like I think watching it was actually like, holy shit, man! I don't know. It's weird. Like, so that it's going to happen, but once you actually start seeing it in the show, just like, oh damn, this is some like very non-Star. I don't want to say it that way. It's not non-Star Wars, but it's like it's very unconventional Star Wars. Like we've never seen something like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like you watch the Death Star blow up Alderaan, you don't see all the people on Alderaan getting blown to shit.
Yeah, I think this is the sort of thing that I think TV, like Star Wars TV shows is kind of for. Like I think it's wonderful, and it's something that has been served for decades by the extended universe. All the legend, what is now legend stuff of you were able to show more, like zoom in closer on smaller elements and show the details and like the wider reality of what it was like. And those books often were still, marketed to a younger audience, so it might not have been directly massacres. But again, in Star Wars Allegiance, they talk about the Teardrop Massacre. And like they just did that. They know they did that. But when it's a movie and it's supposed to have wide mass appeal and you want millions to go see it, you don't have upsetting scenes that are similar to like the Saving Private Ryan D-Day landing. You need to have sword fights with lasers.
Nah, dog. Totally go take your kids to see Saving Private Ryan. Like, sit them down in the theater, make them watch it, and if they look away, be like, no, you're gonna see.
No, you take your kids, or you don't take them to. You just sit them down at home and you make them watch Watership Down.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I am genuinely a true believer in children should watch Watership Down.
Yeah, you want to kill your children's innocence? There you go.
Yeah, like do it before a pet dies. Do it. Get them ready for that day.
That's actually not that. That's a smart move. Old Yeller, yep. Old Yeller. Or Where the Red Fern Grows.
But don't make them watch Plague Dogs, though. That's too far.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
It's based on a book by the guy who wrote Watership Down, and it's a sadder version of Watership Down.
Oh, shit. A sadder version of Watership. Well, okay, then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
So we also get our first look at the KX units. Well, not our first. Actually, that's not true. We saw one of these in season 1 of Andor, but we see them a lot more terrifyingly in this episode. Like they look like fucking monsters, just like kicking. So we mentioned this a little bit off air. Is that like the scaling in different seasons or different shows, and how like, so in Rogue One, K2, while formidable, is much less like just damage proof. Like he's like in this, they're shooting at these things multiple times. They're bouncing off them. These things are kicking like giant like barriers out of the way. They're throwing people like 20 feet. K2SO never does any of that, and it shows that him get shot up like immediately, and he dies pretty damn quick from it. That's the only thing I don't know if that bugged you with this, is that they make them seem a lot more invincible than they should be, is what I think.
I did think it was a bit inconsistent. And it's hard to measure up. This is just an issue, I think, with anything like Star Wars. You know, I've noticed the Marvel movies do it as well. When you have a big series, it's sometimes really hard to stay consistent, and you change things for what the story needs. So within this singular story, having the KX units being really formidable and terrifying to the rebels makes sense. I think it builds up that tension of, you saw that they were kind of managing with the stormtroopers and with the security guys. You then bring in the droids, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose and everything looks worse for them. It works, but no, I did definitely have it of like, I don't remember them being this strong, and I know everyone always says that there's a reason for that, but it makes me think of the prequels and the droid armies, and like, we've seen droids that are built for war be taken out by nothing. So like, these units seems a bit strange that they can just take so many blaster bolts and nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess maybe you'll argue that people would argue that it's like these are older blasters. Maybe it's like the ones that they're using in Rogue One are like newer models, and then maybe they're a little more powerful or something like that. But still, though, yeah, it's like the fact that these guys just brushing them off like it's nothing, and it takes a car to have to like crash into him to take him out. That kind of annoyed me. But whatever. Yeah, it's like you said, you do different things for what the story requires, because like, in Rogue One we need K2 to die in like a heroic way that's also tragic, and so there it is. But in this, we need these things to be like, oh no, we're all getting murdered by this, and we need it to be a monster that is impossible to kill.
Yeah, I do that first one that kicks that barrier though. Like, I find it really fun how casual the violence of the KX units is. Like, and it's so kind of cool. It feels a little bit out of place with how serious everything is, that this guy comes up and just boots a barrier at them. Like, that feels like I don't know, like more of an action movie sort of scene. I expect The Rock to do that in a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying, and I mean, but still, I did with the music and the way that they just come out in like mass. It definitely like the reaction that like the Gorman have to it. Like, you could definitely be like, oh boy, yeah, no, this is like meant to be like a scary moment. I wonder how a KX unit would stand up versus an HK from KOTOR. Ooh, the HK-47 unit.
That would be interesting, because like, HK-47s are like more sort of ranged weapons based, sort of like, it's like they have guns and flamethrowers and all sorts of things. Whereas like the KX units just seem to be like, smack a motherfucker up.
Let's see. Oh, so yeah, Talking Turd claims that the Trade Federation battle droids were mass-produced cheap units compared to the KX units that were specialized like an IG. So it's possible, that just more money went into them. That's why they're tougher. But yeah, I was watching this whole scene being like, dude, where's a fucking a clone when you need one? Let's see. All right, so I do want to talk about, I wrote before we move on to the final episode, how did you feel about this scene, about Cyril taking out, like, it was I don't know if this was like something that we wanted to see, or if this was something that fans were like hoping would build to, that they would actually have a confrontation. But yeah, we have this whole thing with him and Cyril. Go ahead. How did you feel about it?
I think I liked it. I mean, I will admit that it's a little bit conflicted, because I think like Universal and Talking Turd, I think we're discussing this in the chat, and we should have had Cyril for longer. But I don't know, like, for me, this whole scene feeds into that like weird blind luck moment, and I think has this wonderful sort of kind of poignancy of the things that each individual care about in this story aren't necessarily important, if that makes sense. So like, it was really fun to see like Cyril having this real crisis. He he doesn't know what's going on anymore. He can't trust Daedra. He then starts seeing people around him being murdered, by the Empire that he's worked for, and perhaps somewhere in him he knows that like he's kind of on the chopping block just for being there. He could die, and all of that goes away the minute he sees Andor, and he's like, that bitch. Like, just his grudge for him is so singular, it cuts through everything. He's like, nah, I'm having him.
See, the way I interpreted this scene was that, yeah, like you're right. Like he's sitting there, he's seeing like all of this destruction, all this death that he helped cause, and all of like the shit that like led to this point. And then like seeing Andor, I feel like in that moment, he's like, this is your fault. Like if it hadn't been for you, I'd still be a cop on fucking Morlana 1. Or like I was getting all of that, but like he never said any of that to him. And I feel like it would have been weird had he done that. But you definitely get that vibe of like he blames him for all of his problems up to this point. Like he's just like, if it hadn't been for Andor, he would be living a normal life. I wouldn't have had to go home to my mother. I wouldn't have had to do this. It's like all of this shit that he's doing, and I love how in the very end, like he's fighting him, he's kicking his ass. Like he actually holds his own pretty well. Like, I'm surprised we actually see like Cyril do as much damage as he does.
Yeah, Patrick's saying Cyril caught Andor off guard. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to hang in a fight. Private security didn't teach him much either. I'm kind of with you because I was definitely surprised how well Cyril can throw hands. Like he kind of goes beast mode on Andor and does pretty well.
Yes, like I mean, there is a lot of chaos and there's a lot of other shit, and like he said, he wasn't expecting it, but still, though, I'm like, he is able to knock him down. He has the drop on him, man. He at the end, he's like, he's gonna shoot him, and the only reason he doesn't is because Andor asks him, "Who are you?" And that is gotta be the biggest insult to injury, because Cyril has been stewing about this dude for like 4 years, and Andor doesn't even know who the hell he is. He's just like, I don't. And I thought about it. I remember watching back through season 1. At no point does he ever actually cross paths with Cyril, so there's no reason for him to know who Cyril is.
Yeah, but like to Cyril, he has been like a bug in his mind for years now. Like he can't stop thinking about him, and part of why Cyril's doing this because he thinks that this will help them catch Andor. I do believe that Cyril was here trying to attract outside agitators to get Andor to show up.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, in the end, it absolutely worked. It just didn't work the way he hoped it would.
Mm.
And yeah, I also love that how the way that Cyril's taken out is by this dude. That's a great way to do that, because yeah, it's like it. I feel like it kind of closes that whole loop of this dude being like, you fucked us, you betrayed us. Like the guy gets his revenge on Cyril in the end, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. Like
I like the thing of how earlier he was trying to get everyone to leave. He recognized that this is a trap, and the fact that he sort of, I don't know whether there's some nobility in it or something, but the fact that he stayed and fought, that he was like, well, if this is going to happen, I'm going to be involved. I'm going to try and help somebody, and also the fact that like he was so angry at Andor when Andor tried to tell him like, no, stay away from this. Like you're not ready to do this. Mm-hmm. So him then saving Andor, I think has a poignancy both to Andor and to him. The possibility of sort of forgiving him for that, but also that Andor been like maybe he underestimated this guy.
Yeah, that he maybe he does have like the backbone for it, and he actually is able. Like, even though again they started way too late. You guys, you done fucked up. But yeah, so let me see. We get the end, and like the Gorman people are evacuating. There's only a handful left. I do like that one part where they have like the radio frequency, like the girl being like, there's hundreds dead in the streets, there's thousands more in the like around the plaza, like please send us some help, and just like nobody's listening. Like I think they might have shown that the only people who were listening was like ISB or shit like that. Like they don't like, yeah, like there are no like Republic forces, there's no like rebel force, like nobody hears that, and that just kind of adds to the whole like I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of like the tragedy of the whole scene, or like the tragicness of it. It's just like, yeah, no one's coming to help you. You guys are fucked.
Well, yeah, and it's that thing of when you have a moment like this, it's the that poem of they came for the communists and I said nothing. They because I wasn't a communist, they came for the Jews and I said nothing because I wasn't a Jew. That thing of everyone else underneath the empire is like, I can't do this, and the senator for Gorman was saying, I've been telling the people of my planet to keep your heads down and don't make a fuss. And that's that's sort of partly what all of this can achieve. Not only will the Empire get the resources it needs, but it's just this sign again of, if we have a problem with you, we can destroy you.
Mm-hmm. I believe there was a part in the previous episode before this one, episode 7, where like Mon is talking to the Gorman senator, and she's like, "Is there anything I can do?" He's like, "Yeah, you can turn back the clocks. Tell everyone to go home." I'm like, "Damn, dude!" It's like that is like it's just kind of a powerful line there, because it's just like, yeah, he knows that it's just too late. His people are kind of fucked.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, because it's a really heavy topic, and sometimes when you say it out loud, it's like, wow, yeah, that's rough. But actually, the show's incredibly entertaining. It's so easy to watch. It's sort of perfect.
Really, really good.
It can package these lessons in a show that's really good to watch.
In Genocide, no one hears you scream. No, in Genocide, everyone hears everyone scream. If the Empire are...
I lost you there. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. I'm back.
You back?
Yep, I'm back. My bad.
Right.
Don't know what happened with that, but yeah, no, I don't know about them being the space Jews, but they are definitely. I mean, because you could argue everyone in the like Republic or whatever, everyone in the Empire is like being oppressed like in the same way. I mean, Alderaan gets straight up blown up. Like, there's millions of people on Alderaan at that point. So I'm like, are the Alderanians? You know what I'm saying? Are they the space Jews?
Yeah, and also an important historical part. It wasn't just the Jewish people that were murdered en masse. The disabled, gypsies, like traveling communities rather, just huge numbers of people were destroyed. And communists, anyone who was of a political party that wasn't the National Socialists, were victimized and were killed and sent to camps and all sorts of things. And definitely, the Gormans they deliberately look like early 20th century Europeans. Like, they dress like. They speak like the French, they dress like the French, because they're supposed to look like that. Like, we are supposed to think of them that way.
It's like they're kind of like Poland. They're like space Poland.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason that they sound French is to get that feeling of like the French resistance, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, I did want to mention that they kind of feel very much like the French resistance, minus all the saboteurs or minus the bombs. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, I suppose like maybe if you went further into it, and I don't know whether like somewhere near Gore there's like another planet that's doing the Battle of Britain. It's like, oh well, we turn off all the lights at night and for when the bombers come.
Lucas was criticized for making the banking clan the space Jew. Yeah, but that's because he made them just like they're an alien race that's obsessed with money, and they're the banking clan. And it's like, I don't know, he made them vaguely racial.
Are they as bad as the Ferengi? Because I think the Ferengi might be the worst ones.
Oh, that's a good point. Ooh.
Yeah.
The propaganda against Gore, it was very World War II Eastern Front and the fall of Warsaw.
Yeah.
I can see that, yeah. And then, and it's kind of, again, another very powerful thing that we end on this dude. Like, we end on Andor driving away, and then we end on this guy just kind of like sitting there, just downtrodden, just like, well, fuck. This is the end of my planet, and he's surrounded by a bunch of his fucking like cloth and silks and shit.
Like, there's a bunch of spiders somewhere who are just like, what's going on?
There's a mine somewhere with a bunch of spiders in it, being like, what the fuck, man? Also,
there's like a task force, like some Imperial task force. That's their job, just to like roll up newspapers and get rid of the spiders.
Is the internet crapping out on me again?
No, I can hear you and I can see you. Can you not hear me?
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah. So sorry, my internet keeps on bugging out on me for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm gonna close some tabs and see if that helps.
Okay.
But yeah, I just want to end before we end on this episode. We'll jump on to the final one. But can we talk about why the fuck we continue to see this lady throughout this episode? I just don't care about Cyril's mom. Like,
I mean, I think the purpose of it is to reflect that propaganda element, and that thing of whilst this is happening, it is being repackaged and broadcast out to the Empire. So we already had in the last 3-episode arc, I think, where he says like, you watch too much Imperial news or Central News or whatever it is, and that thing of, you know, this is how this message is being spread for the people of the Empire, and we can see how the reality is being hidden from them and how it's being sold. So yeah, you know, I don't have a problem with it.
All right, yeah, I really hope we don't see more of her. I'm so sick and tired of Cyril's mom. Can we just be, now that he's dead, can we be done with her too?
Is it in this episode that or is it those two? Was it just then where we see that, like, I think she might be reacting to him dying, because there's the two of the women and it looks like they're comforting her.
I think they mentioned that. I don't know if they say that Cyril's dead, but they do mention that like hundreds dead in the plaza, and it could, you know, and so many more in count. And she's just like, it might just be that she's It's kind of like watching the 9/11 thing of like, you don't know if your family member is dead. You just think that you just know that they're in that area.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like, so, but yeah, moving on to final episode, which is probably like, not the best one, I don't think, but it is probably the one that's like the most poignant and most like relevant to today. I would argue.
Yeah, I think this is quite. I like this episode. I think overall, I think it does what it needs to do after a huge, like, high stress episode like that. You know, it's then how does everyone else deal with the aftermath, and I like it.
Yeah, and how do we deal with that? By arresting the Gorman senator for reasons. Like, and I love, they even says like, there's no warrant, no charges, like, you're just arresting me for no reason. It's like, yeah, no, wouldn't they have to have I know that's the point of the Empire, is that like, yeah, they're just oppressing people because they don't give a shit. But it's like, seriously though, how are people just standing by and letting that go down? Like, wouldn't someone stand up and be like, hey, what is he being arrested for? What, he didn't do anything. He didn't tell his people to rebel.
Well, yeah, you know, it's the knowledge of, if you do, you might be the next one on the chopping block. Slash, I don't know if they've got the Imperial equivalent of the Patriot Act. You know, just something where they go, yeah, we can just do this. We're allowed to.
Yeah, and I guess that's, yeah, it's kind of and it's like we said in the last episode or the last arc as well, is like they don't even lie badly anymore. That's like the final insult, is that they're just doing whatever they want and they don't care. And so, yeah, like we have the Gorman senator being arrested while everyone else just kind of watches on. And then, yeah, we get Bail Organa and Mon Mothma talking about how like this is pretty much the end. Like, we can't be sitting here in the Senate anymore. We have to leave. We have to go join the rebellion, and yeah, like actually like formally like leave the Senate. And although I do kind of like how he does it, is like he's like, you have to go do it, even though I can't. Like, I have to stay here and still be basically be your man on the inside, which that does match up with what we know about, you know, the original trilogy Star Wars. Like, Leia was a member of the Imperial Senate, her father was as well. Like, they were working with the rebellion from the inside there, which is another time I'm like, teenage Leia, bro, you could totally have teenage Leia right here. Just have it. You don't even need to show her face, just imply that she is standing around.
I don't know, I feel like, I mean, you know, obviously Leia is very headstrong and will do things her own way, but I feel like Bail Organa would be like, no, for real, Leia, today you are not coming to work. I don't care.
It's like, we are not doing this after the genocide of Gorman. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, you're going to sit down, you're going to shut up and play with your ladybird.
Yeah, so, but yeah, we get this whole thing. I also want to talk about, I really like the architecture for this entire scene, or this entire episode. Like, the showing us like the interior of the Senate building and like all these different, like, it's just kind of, it's not very alien architecture, but it's still just like, I just like it, because we get to see various areas of the Senate building, and that's not just like the main chamber.
It does kind of look a little bit like, I don't know, like a mall in the Philippines or something, like like that giant, the biggest mall in the world that's in Bangkok.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like, admittedly, it does have. I guess some of these parts, I was like, this is very obviously like some convention center or something that just has like a green screen, or they just have like the CGI the night sky of Coruscant there. But still, though, I'm like, I don't mind it, because again, some of these areas look kind of cool. I mean, I think it just looks really like it's cinematic. You know what I mean?
It feels very real. Like and
Mhm.
like you say, probably because it is a real location to some degree at least. But no, yeah, it's what this show's great at. I think is grounding everything. You know, that sometimes you watch some of the Senate stuff that happens in the prequels, and they're a little bit silly and a little bit overblown, but this just makes it super down to earth.
Mm-hmm. And again, yeah, I'm focusing, I'm jumping around the episode just to focus entirely on the architecture of this, and I just think it looks really good. Like I like that, and it absolutely fits with something that's like, oh yeah, this is our government building. We're gonna blow an insane amount of money to make it look like this. Anyway,
Look like Space Dubai.
exactly. That's exactly what I think it looks like, a Space Dubai.
I keep thinking it looks a bit like an airport to me.
Kinda, yeah. It does look like a terminal, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a recently made airport.
So yeah, basically, but this whole episode revolves around Andor sneaking into the Senate. So, all right, so actually, I'll bring it up here because we had Talking Turd talk about it. Not that one. It says that he watched Rebels season 3, episode 18 directly after watching episode 9 of Andor, and the reason that is because so in that episode, that's where the Ghost Squad, Harrison, Dula, Kanan, Ezra, all of them. Like that's where they are the ones who are tasked with joining Gold Squadron and bringing Mon Mothma to Yavin. And it's like a whole thing. Like it's like a big to do. They're bringing her in with official like rebel escort and everything, and it's supposed to be like a big old like official thing. Even though in this episode we see very clearly that Andor is the one who saved her, and they even say in this episode that he, we're gonna have her come in with Gold Squadron so that way she, it looks better. Basically, we don't want her to have to come in here with a spy. We want her to come in with our forces. And so basically, I think what I'm asking is, does that matter to you at all, Harrison, that they retconned this, or did you even care? Because you never watched Rebels, I don't believe.
Yeah, I didn't know that was in Rebels. I like it. Again, I one of the things that I love about this is just it is constantly going, no, this is messy. All of this is messy. None of this is a nice, clean story that you've got a clear, good guy and a bad guy. There's always blurred lines. So, we've had the last episode, which is heavily on, lying to your people to give them a different set of circumstances to make it seem better. But then we also then flip that, and like the rebellion does the same thing, not to the same degree and not in the same manner, but it is not telling the whole truth so that they can make a better, signal both to their people and to people outside of the rebellion of like, an official thing has happened and the rebellion are looking to be recognized as a state, and will the UN acknowledge, Yavin?
Okay, they were never mind. They were tasked with refueling, not escorting. But the Empire caught up with them, and the Ghost Crew rescued Mon Mothma and took her to Dantooine for the Alliance. Okay, yeah. So she makes another Alliance speech in that episode. My bad, Talking Turd. But yeah, but the point is that they officially are like, hey, we want her to go in with our forces, and then that's where Ezra and his team come in and do their whole thing on the kids show. And also, yeah, but if I vaguely remember that episode, she does not look like someone who just witnessed multiple murders and and like got out of there just by the skin of her teeth. She seems very composed in that episode.
But, wow, Mothma like just keeps rocking back and forth in her chair and not speaking. What's happening, guys?
So yeah, basically. But anyway, so yeah, but we get like this whole building up part of like Andor being like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like he's angry about the Gorman massacre. He's talking about how he wants to quit the rebellion and just go live with Bix. And I do kind of like this scene with I forget Clea, I think her name is. Like she starts telling him like basically like you need to man up because like Mon Mothma is risking everything for her like she's risking everything to do this right now, like to join our cause, and you're basically just belly aching about something that you got to survive. Boo hoo for you.
Yeah, it's real hard.
It's like I mean I agree that it would be hard to see that shit, but it's like I do love how she's just like man up basically. It's like grow a pair and quit bitching.
Well, I think that this is the bit where we just are like, I have never not come through for you guys, and it's the wonderful double-edged sword of in in the movies, they maybe hint at something like that, but we never get something as kind of deep. And I think they tried with the Last Jedi and failed. Like the toll that something like this takes on you. But yeah, there isn't a moment where Luke is like, "Are you aware of how many times I've almost died, and like how many of these guys just keep dying around me? I am done with this. I am sick of this." Like, it never comes up because that's not the kind of story we want here. But yeah, it's that thing of there's always going to be people who this is incredibly stressful and traumatic, and at some point they're going to be like, I can't keep doing this, and then someone's going to pressure them. It's like, no, you have to, because like that's what this is now. You are this now. You are a rebel. You are in a war, and you have to face up to that.
And I mean, yeah, and at a certain point, you're no longer a spy. You're actually a part of like of an actual military. Like the rebels are now a full on like government like agent, or not agency, but yeah, they're like a full on like actual like functioning government. So it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, and it's something of like you don't get to retire from this. It's like even if Andor left, it's like, yeah, maybe he could get out and go and do something else, but maybe he's going to end up like Leon Trotsky getting an ice pick in the back of the head. It's just, this is your life now, and someone will come back and get you for it later on.
That's true. I do actually like there is a part where he's talking to Luthen on Coruscant, and he says like he basically says like we know what we were signing up for the day we became rebels. Like we both know that neither of us is going to survive this. Like, and I like how Andor's like, that's bullshit. I didn't sign up for that. And he's like, you didn't? Like, you sure about that? Like, and yeah, no, it's very. That's what I like about Luthen, is that he understands full well that he's like, yeah, there's no walking away. Like, once you become a rebel and once you do what we're doing, you're just signing your life away. Like, you're not. There is no like leaving this alive.
It's a thing I love about Luthen as well. Like, he's such a wonderful like character that's in the shades of grey. Of like, because I don't think Luthen did tell him, hey, he goes to him, he's like, do you want to do something real? Do you really want to make a difference? He doesn't say, do you want to sign up to like, this is how you're going to die? You're going to die like doing jobs for me, and then I will die. One of us, I don't know which one will happen first, but we're both going to die in this. Which maybe we'll do that in predictions, but I'm wondering whether we'll see Luthen die in this season.
That's one thing I'm curious about. Maybe I'm like, we will definitely get to it later, but yeah, I'm gonna say maybe. So yeah, but he certainly seems to think so. As I'm gonna say, the character of Luthen certainly seems to think it. He's not gonna survive to see the end of the rebellion. And we also get Saw Gerrera say that same thing. Is like, he's gonna die before the New Republic it comes back and everything like that. It's like, it's just, yeah, these guys are just like, they're down with the fact that they're gonna be dead.
Yeah, what's that thing of like the man who plants a tree that he'll never sit in the shade of.
I like that Luthen is like the Palpatine of the rebels. He kind of is their emperor, isn't he?
I mean, sort of, yeah. I don't know. I think there are subtle differences. I don't think you could say that they're exactly the same, but yeah, he has that position at the top of it, at least.
Like, he's, if nothing else, like in the same way of like, he's doing shit from the shadows. Like, he's controlling everything from the shadows, and he's all sneaky. Like, he's trying to be like, I guess, cloak and dagger kind of thing about it. He's not just out and open. So now I just want to talk about this real quick. Just this one thing, we mentioned it a little off air. Bail Organa saying shit instead of poodoo or ferric or frick or frack or whatever any of these number of fake fucking words that that Star Wars has given us in lieu of cursing. Like, it bugged me. It fucking bugged me. I know it's no reason. There's no reason for an adult show to be like, tear the poodoo out of this place. I'm just like, but come on, it's what they say.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like it was kind of it was a part of those movies and shows that we knew why it was there, because again, they're selling it to like a family audience, so they don't want to have swear words. But it doesn't make any sense that basic is exactly the same as English, except for their curse words.
I mean, and I think technically poodoo is actually Huttese. Like, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, like anytime that people say like, Like they're speaking, like most of the time, at least when you see like in episode 1 when Anakin is speaking to fucking Watto or something like that, they're speaking Huttese. So it's like fine, maybe that's just like maybe Bail Organa is above that. Like I'm not going to debase myself by speaking Hutt, but still though, like god damn it, man, that's Star Wars. But anyway, yeah, that's my 2-minute fucking rant about why I wanted a curse word not to be in Star Wars.
Fair dues. I didn't even notice. Like, didn't cross my mind.
It was cursing for the sake of cursing. Yeah, exactly, Turd. It was just so they could be like, ooh, look how adult we are. We said the S word.
This means your dad is Star Wars.
Even though in My Daddy's Star Wars, they did have Han Solo say hell multiple times.
Oh, how scandalous.
I'm just no. That's the argument for why it's okay to have normal curse words in Star Wars, because it's like Han Solo did it all the time.
Hell is not
anyway.
a curse word.
Whatever semantics.
Just because some of your mums said HE double hockey sticks does not make hell a curse word.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the best part of this episode. All right, so I like how they had to do this stupid like nonsense of like, oh well, was it according to Imperial thing A17-2 foot, like it was an emergency, and so therefore I'm allowed to let this other person talk instead of me. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this bullshit government rule nonsense? Because literally, the sneaky way that they get her on stage is one senator says, I'm going to use my time to let this other guy talk, and then he uses his time to say, well, it's an emergency, so I'm going to let this other person talk. And,
yeah. I was kind of into it. It's how a lot of stupid politics stuff happens. Something has already been mentioned. Somebody already referenced the Enemy Aliens Act, and that kind of thing. Like you can go and pull out weird articles and weird laws and things that allow you to do stuff. And I kind of like it because it's you see earlier someone says like we're not letting any of these people speak. We've chosen who's going to speak and who's not. So the fact that Bail Organa came out here with like, no, these are your rules, and I've been able to use your rules to get past it. I like that.
Yeah, no, all right. So I'll say this is that like the way they like the fact that he's like, oh well, based off of imperial codes that came down from the Emperor's Council. It's like, yeah, so you can't be sitting here talking shit about what I did. They're using the Emperor's own rules against him. So that's cool, but it's like, again, it's just so ridiculous that it's like the fact that they have to do this like weird bureaucratic nonsense, and like it felt very episode 1 to me, and I'm like, and maybe that's the point, but still.
Yeah, no, I get you there. I preferred it to episode 1, but yeah, no, I can't disagree.
But then we did to see some really awesome, a really awesome moment from Mon Mothma. Then probably the best part of the episode is her speech. And talking about like what is it? What'd she say? What was the term she used? Objective truth or objective like reality. Like when we lose objective reality, like the monster, or we become vulnerable for the monster that screams the loudest. I'm like, dude, fuck yes! Like I love it so much. It's so true.
Oh yeah, no, it was absolutely excellent. I think it was a wonderful speech. Fantastically written, works so well in the story, and is a great message I think for people to hear.
It both works for Star Wars and for real life.
Very much so.
Okay, I'm gonna have to turn my camera off for a second because it's starting to overheat. So we're gonna go back to my webcam. There we go. But anywho, so great scene, great speech, and I don't know, just good acting on this. I forget what this actress's name is, but just great acting all around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think this whole episode's done really well. Like I said, I think it does the right thing where it is not as high action and as stressful as the last episode was, but it doesn't let it die. It dips enough so like if you're watching all 3 at once, or just general when you watch them, you don't have this like it's getting constantly ramped up and you get tired of it. It feels ridiculous. But it still manages to have a plot that you want to know what's happening next. I mean, there's a few other plot things that we hadn't sort of gone over yet. that are all happening around this scene, and it's really great. I think so.
That is true. We have a number of plots that are going around here. Like there's the fact that Mon Mothma is going to be taken by both Andor and Bail Organa's crew, and Bail Organa's team has like an ISB agent in there. Let me see. We do talk about like also there's the dude like who's trying to like lock down or shut down the broadcast, and he apparently can't because he's like, why is the door locked? Oh, well, it's always supposed to be locked. Well, it hasn't been all like. I do love this whole thing where like the engineers are even on her side and like fucking with the Empire.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic that like it's not just that. It's not just like the agents that we see. That there are other people around the place, and I think as well like something that I did find a little bit again. Some of these things are difficult to follow, but I think deliberately so. So right at the beginning of the episode, you have the moment where they find a listening device in her chambers, and so she goes to practice her speech outside, which is when she meets Luthen, and Luthen says about actually the assistant who's helping you works for me. And I don't know who she thought he worked for, whether he just worked for her, or whether he's supposed to be part of Bail Organa's guys.
I believe we see him during the wedding episodes as well. Like we see him, like he's like her attendant or something like that. He's like her assistant. But he mentions that it was after that episode or after that wedding that he's like, oh, I started working for Luthen then and spying for him and letting him know what you were doing and what was going on. Which I do also like that scene later on where she's like, I never felt so betrayed in my life. Like she gets pissed off at the dude and tells him basically he's fired. I'm like, yeah, that's how that would work. Yeah.
But I love that happens, but he doesn't abandon her. Like, you know, he leaves, you know, and he sort of respects that, but still has this kind of duty to make sure that she's okay. And he believes in what Luthen's telling him, and that, you know, that Bail Organa's team are compromised, and so can't just abandon it, can't, you know, stay out of the way. He has to do what he can to try and keep her safe. So then, you know, that's when you get the thing of him helping Andor to get there. And this whole little standoff was great. I really liked this moment.
Yeah, no, I love how the assistant dude is like, she's a rebel spy, and then shoots her, and like that's great. That was fucking genius.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, see the fact that he gets the gun off of her, and then I'm like, yeah, no, great, good move. I love how they get the other Bail Organa dude is just like, I'm not even part of this. Don't shoot me.
Like, I really love, like, there are lots of points, you know, I think throughout this show where sometimes you go like, we don't see Andor much, but it reminds me a little bit of Mad Max Fury Road, you know, like how he doesn't necessarily drive the plot, but he's like really important for what happens, like to get stuff done. And like Andor's kind of like that. He's got this wonderful character arc to him, or the story around him is great about how he's kind of a tool. Like Andor is almost just a gun. You know, he's like a weapon. So like, you have those fantastic moments like there where someone else comes up with the distraction and he's just been sent to get her out. And the best thing he can do is that he's real fast with that gun and he doesn't think twice about using it. So the fact that like, you know, if this was a D&D game, like it would have been a bunch of people then rolling deception to try and like keep up the story and like convince everyone that she's the rebel and try and get the guards to kill her. But he's like, no, that was enough of a distraction. I'm just going to shoot her, and now I'm the one with the gun, and all of you are going to sit down.
Yeah, and it very much, yeah, like it, and that's very much how it ends up going down. I do kind of like that too. It's just like he's like, we don't have time for this. I'm taking control of this fucking situation. Like, but I mean, it's also like a very dangerous situation at that point. You could definitely, like, despite how, like you said, it's much more calm and like less like action packed and dramatic than the last episode, but it still has its own set of tension because like them trying to get out of here at this point, like, yeah, you got stormtroopers all over the place. They're locking down the building. It's just it is one of those fucking like one of those moments where you're just like, okay, we're screwed.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. And again, another one of those things of like, I really do enjoy looking at all this like kind of spacey looking architecture, this like being able to see the different parts of the building, being able to see all this. And then also just even the different like ISB guys, like all this different like the Senate guards, I guess. This is just kind of a cool thing to see, that just like different parts of the Star Wars I enjoy that. Let me see. I also kind of like this scene where he goes up. So this whole thing of like shooting the fucking the driver. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that scene of like, what's his name? What's his name? Oh, it's Cloris. Hey, Cloris, we got her! Bang! I'm just like, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it's real fun. I also, again, it's another one of those moments of just like really nice little ambiguity that I quite like. If like you start to, similar with Cyril, I think you start to question like, what is the driver? What is he thinking in all of this? Because like he's like really antsy and like kind of stressed out in his car, but it's like, why is he? Because we know we know he's an agent, we know he's a plant, so he wants them to catch her, but he's like he goes looking for her, so it's like maybe he is actually got a bit more humanity and he is just worried about her. You don't know necessarily why he's gone up, and yeah, so like it makes this really interesting thing of like the safest thing for Andor to do was to kill him, but maybe it was the
get
wrong
the vague idea. You're absolutely right there. I did get the vague idea though that he was like when he was listening to her speech, it seemed like he was kind of being like won over by her. Like he's kind of sitting there just like, huh, what the? Maybe I am the bad guy. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I love it, and because of, I think there's a real poignancy to like we'll never know, because Andor just goes like, no, my decision is he's dying. Like he's in my way and I'm killing him.
Well, she does say, he's like, can we trust him? Well, no, he's an ISB plant, and so he's just like, okay, that's all I need to know. He's Imperial. That's all I need to know.
I love the way he just says like, what's his name? What's his name?
I mean, that would throw you off if someone just walked up to you out of nowhere and just like, hey, Harrison. You're just like, do I know you?
What's it's like Jack Ruby, Oswald, and then just shoots him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I do like, so we get her out of there. Like he gets her to, not to Yavin, but to like, I forget exactly. Like he just kind of flies her to a safe location. And there is a part where she's just like, I don't know how to thank you. I'm like, you didn't look like you were thanking him earlier. You looked like you were fucking horrified when he gunned down your driver. So I want to say I loved this scene. So we have Vel. So we go back to the Yavin base, and she's like looking through all the recruits, like their stuff and like all their weapons, which I do also like that of like, it's not just like you're issued a gun. It's like you have to basically use whatever you brought with you. But so the reason I like this is because so she picks up this weapon, and I don't know if you recognized it or the guy who it belonged to.
No, I'm glad that you're going to explain to me.
So yeah, like I was looking at this, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And again, it took watching Rogue One. That's Melshi. That's the dude who broke out of prison with.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, and the pistol that she picked up, it was the corporate pistol that he gave him. He's like, here, take this with you. You'll need it. And it's like when they went their separate ways on the I guess when they escaped from the prison, like that was the gun he gave him. That was the corporate gun that he stole from one of those dudes on Morlana.
Ah, okay.
And again, yeah, like I noticed this because I was watching the Rogue One, and I'm like, and at the final battle on Scarif, he's like, Melshi, we need you to do something. Like, wait, why do I know that name? And I googled, I'm like, oh fuck, it's that guy. So yeah, it's basically just showing you that like some of Andor's friends have made it to the rebellion as well, which that's just a cool little like tie-in from season 1, and then also from the movie.
Yeah.
See. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. They go back to that's right. The safe location they go back to is the apartment. That's right.
Yeah, he says like I lived here once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we also find that he has Wilmon is back there. He was able to escape Gorman along with his like the girlfriend that he made there, or that he got there. So, and then. Let me see here. We end up back on Yavin with again Wilmon is wounded. They have Mon Mothma there, like again, and that's where we get the story that he's like, hey, we're changing the narrative. Like she's gonna make a speech. She's gonna be brought in by Gold Squadron. She's gonna make a speech then, and we're gonna like I don't know why they do that. It seems like a weird thing, and it also seems like they're just trying to not retcon their own the thing they already made.
I mean, it made sense to me. Again, it's that thing of like they're legitimizing it, and partly I think it's that they want to make themselves look stronger than they are. So like you said, them being like more like a real government and a real group. So they want to be able to show we have like a navy almost. It's like they send in their ships and it goes with them. And she makes a speech and it sounds really official and it gets broadcast everywhere. Rather than rather than, the Saw Gerrera, Bin Laden, he's in a cave with a video camcorder making his messages and sending them via VHS. This is, no, this has been officially broadcast and it's out on the HoloNet, and it looks, like the leader of a sovereign nation, like declaring something. It looks really official. It's kind of respect.
And I guess, and I guess it makes it look better when you have like 2 X-wings bring her in, like a thing of like 2 X-wings bring her in, and she has like an official ship, and it makes it seem like she's actually like the president or whatever of their government. Yeah. So, like, I get that, but still though, it's just like, damn, dude, that fucks him over like really bad, because it's like, again, no one will ever know that he's the real reason that she made it off of Coruscant, which is kind of shitty in my mind. Like, give him a medal or something.
Well, one of the things that I really like about this, it reminds me of one of my favorite things I learned in history classes about the First World War. And this whole show makes me think about like when the First World War started and Archduke Franz Ferdinand was shot. And like the only reason the guy was shot was because of like a stupid coincidence. Like they were in that motorcade and they were going through in Austro-Hungary, and or were they in Austro-Hungary? Anyway, Serbian rebel group shows up, they're terrorists. They want to create an attack, but they fail at that. So they all retreat. And then the car with the Archduke gets sent down a side alley because it's safer to do that. And the side alley that they go down and they stop in is one where the Serbian terrorists went when they were running. And the guy goes, oh shit, he's there. Boom. And then just the entirety of the First World War happens and Europe is destroyed almost. And it's, millions die. And I find I like that. I like that reflection of and the whole of Andor is a series of kind of crazy circumstances, and everyone's just trying to figure out what to do, and they're making a story out of it. I love it.
Yeah, no, that is kind of cool. Like the idea that like some of the biggest world events could have just been kicked off by like a complete fucking accident. So yeah, to see that reflected in entertainment is kind of a cool thing. All right, so yeah, well, we're almost at the end here, so let's go ahead and end it with this. We have he goes back to Bix, and then we get probably the saddest part of this episode, where he wakes up and she tells him, like, she leaves him a message, like a recording saying that, hey, basically, so I'm gonna leave because the rebellion needs you, and you're gonna leave because of me, so stay. Basically, like, if I'm not here, you can't leave.
Yeah, it's real tough. That's just, I don't know how I feel about this, but it feels, I don't know. I feel like it's not how I thought the story would go, definitely, and it seems a little bit like we just want to get rid of this character because it doesn't make sense anymore for him to carry on if this character's still around.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Also, like, we have to have like, there's a slight like love thing between him and Jyn Erso. Spoilers for World War One. Oh dear God!
Sorry, but yeah, World War One yet.
But he does kind of have like a love kind of thing, or like a relationship almost, like a love interest with Jyn Erso. So I'm like, I guess that's kind of what they're making room for. But also, I feel like a big part of that is that they wanted to write this character out of the show without killing her off, because they're like, hey, what if we want to bring Bix back for a thing later on?
Yeah. It also makes me think of because last week I said I thought there would be some fallout from what she did to the Doctor. And I was really surprised that there was nothing. There was no consequence to that.
No, she's just good. She's like, what I love is that she's just like it. Like, we have the whole thing of her, PTSD, drug abuse, but she kills one doctor and she's good. She's just like, PTSD gone. Like, obviously, it's been a year. There's probably other shit that's been going on Yavin that's been helping her get past it. But it's like, for fuck's sake, man. It's like, yeah, you're right. I would have thought there would still be something, but it's like, no, she just moved on. Life is good now. Bix has been very underwhelming. I would agree. Yeah, her kind of character arc has just kind of been like, she's there to be the love interest for Andor. And it is a little bit of a bummer. I feel like it's a bittersweet ending, because on the one hand we get to know like why we get to see why he stayed with the rebellion, and why he was like just like, well, fuck it, I guess I'm stuck here now. And I mean, they even say when he gets there, like, he's like, where's the transport that's leaving? He's like, all the transports that are leaving left this morning. No one else is allowed to leave now. And it's like, unless you have permission. So it's like, yeah, no, he's stuck there.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it sort of helps explain how he kind of comes to terms with living this life that he knows is going to end. Mm-hmm. That he knows, like, his time in this galaxy is short.
Mm-hmm. Only a year, dude. That's rough. Yeah, like it's 2 BBY. It's like he has less than like a year and a half left to live.
Yeah.
Not even a year and a half. Like it's because Rogue One takes place like weeks before Episode 4, so it's like he has less than 2 years to live. That's a bummer. And all right, and so and we'll end the part we've all been waiting for. God damn it, Alan Tudyk showing up as K2SO, which I can't personally wait until next episode when he shows up and is like there's like a buddy cop thing going on.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what we do with him in the next arc. I'm interested to see where the next arc goes because at this point, I'm not too sure what it's going to be. Whether it is just right up until the events of Rogue One, so whether we set up, I don't know, hearing from Galen Erso or something, or do we have something else, some other little adventure that we're going to
get? Yep, steal a one-of-a-kind prototype, no consequences. Kill a high-ranking ISB doctor, no consequences. Yep, like nothing. I think there will be 2 time jumps in the next arc. 2 time jumps. Maybe we'll see. Because there's going to be the 1 BBY, but then also there's thinking that the last episode is going to take place like just before Rogue One takes place. So that's like weeks before. So yeah, that'll be. I don't know how you go about BBY 2 weeks. I don't know, but anyway. So that is the end of that episode. That's the end of that arc. Great arc. I think again, just getting better and better and better. Where would you rate this 3 episodes of Harrison on out of 5?
Oh, did I give them 5 last? I think I did give them 5 last week, which is bad because I think these are better. Fuck it, I'll just give them 5 again. I maybe it's just because I'm so happy to watch a Star Wars show that hasn't made me mad. Like I think the last Star Wars shows that we've had made me mad, and this one hasn't at all.
Yeah, no, it's just been good, just consistently good. It hasn't had any bullshit, any stupid episodes, nothing that I would consider to be filler. Like it's just been consistently just good episodes, and I'm like, Tony Gilroy, dude, give him more Star Wars.
Yeah, and like Talking Turd and Universal have been chatting away, talking about things that you didn't like about the first arc, and I appreciate some of your points, and especially like you're saying about what he gets this TIE prototype and we don't see anything about it, and I can't disagree with that. But when I was watching them, I really enjoyed them. I didn't have any problems with them. I was really happy because I was like, oh, brilliant! Like Andor's back, and it to me felt like it was back to the quality it was in the first season. So I've been really enjoying the show. So hoping it can just stick the landing.
Agreed. I think it will. Like after what we've seen these last 9 episodes, I think the final 3 are going to be just like probably the best we've seen. Let's see, 5 huffs of X-wing fuel, 5 huffs of Rhinol or whatever the fuck that shit is called. The shit that Saw Gerrera huffs. But yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. 5 out of 5. It's just great episodes. I'm looking forward to the final 3. I really, dude, use Alan Tudyk. Use as much Alan Tudyk as you can. Stuff him. If you just want to make an entire K2SO episode, I will be happy with just that. I don't care about the rest of them. At this point, I don't care. But I think it's worth it. What predictions do you have before we get finished here? Because we are just about done.
I think Luthen's gonna die. I kind of think that Luthen has to die. I think there has to be, if this is the end of Andor, Luthen has a story that I think can only end with his death. And I don't want to that to be something that happens off screen or something it's just kind of implied that eventually he dies, unless they're going to do like a Luthen standalone thing at some point, which is like Luthen's last stand or whatever. I don't know. I think it could be interesting to have. I think someone else mentioned earlier the idea of Mon Mothma being the one who kills Luthen or orders Luthen's death, and that could be interesting.
Ooh, I'd be down for that, honestly. I don't know if Mon Mothma would ever do that, but I'd be down for maybe one of the generals or one of the other guys, one of the military leaders of the rebellion, being we have to kill this guy. He's a threat now. Or even Saw Gerrera. Maybe Saw Gerrera kills Luthen.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, I can do that.
or okay, so yeah, Patrick says there might be another cameo. That might be cool. Again, Princess Leia, Harrison Dula. I take Ezra Bridger maybe, or like you could have the chick who played fucking Sabine. It's like someone, I don't know. You could have any of the Ghost crew. But yeah, damn, 718 million viewers apparently for these 3 episodes for this arc. I'm like, and that doesn't surprise me at all. It is incredible. Just the word of mouth on this show alone should be enough to get people watching it. When you look at the grand scheme of things, the timing of Han Solo arriving on Yavin 4 hours after Andor dies, we see the boots that Han fills. Kinda, yeah, because then right after that he becomes Captain Solo. Like and that's an interesting point. I didn't think about that.
No, yeah.
Anyway, but well, we're gonna have to save that for next week or for next time. But yeah, I really hope. Let us know. Let us know in the comments below. Comment below, not in the chat, but below the video in the actual comment thing. Who you think is gonna die next in Andor? Is it gonna be Luthen? Is it gonna be Vel? Gonna be Bix maybe? Who knows? But yeah, let's go ahead and leave that down there, and we can chat about it next week. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you to Talking Turd, to Patrick, to Universal, to Peaky for being here. And a few others. We had Aaron in here for a minute. We had I think we might have had Hans at one point. I'm forgetting, but anyway, we had multiple people in here. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you for the ones who were watching and not commenting. Make sure you comment next time. And thank you, of course, to Harrison for being here. Anything you want to talk about before we head out?
I'm really sorry that I've been working very slowly on the audiobooks. It's been slow going. Loads of stuff happening at the moment. But please do keep an eye on the channel. I'll be putting something out as soon as I can.
Very good. And yeah, and same thing. I'm trying to work on Hard Contact part 8, and then also the last Ronin comic. We'll get them out when we get them out. Until then, just hang in there, kitty. But yeah, guys, we will see you all next time. Again, thank you all for being here. Remember, check us out next week. We'll be talking about the final arc of Andor, and then I don't know, maybe next week after that we'll do a retrospective on Return of the or Revenge of the Sith, because that'll be its like 20th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, guys, until next time, I have been Gilbert.
I've been Harry.
And this has been Fulcrum Entertainment Podcast. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Oh.